Hello and welcome to my Torah Corner. So, I understand that William and Catherine are in Jordan, which is a neighboring country to Israel, and I don't want them to come to Israel, not at the time being, because their arrival to Israel will be will be used by the government as an admission of the monarchy that this government is legitimate. But I do pity Catherine because we have a terrible heat wave, and the degrees here are, I think, getting near 40 degrees Celsius, and it is horrible. And it's not only very hot, it's also the air is dry and misty, full with dusk. So I'm sure that she is there with air condition and everything, but still, if they are going outside and if they want to tour Jordan, which is a beautiful country, it's not very easy with this heat wave. Anyway, I do envy the Jordanian who have a rare opportunity to see Catherine. So this was one thing that I wanted to say, and if we are talking about what is happening here in Israel, this is the one thing that is helping me to keep my mind off Rosie and what happened with Rosie this week. And on June 1st, the celebrations of the month of Pride started in Israel, as well as I understand the rest of the world. And as every year, there was a Pride parade in Jerusalem, despite the attempt of the ultra-Orthodox to abolish it, to stop it. And as part of their propaganda against LGBTQ, they spread so much hatred. They spread a pamphlet that is calling them sick, that is telling that is trying to use all sorts of scientific evidence as to why being homosexual is a disease, and why is it connected to being assaulted when you are young. And they are trying to, and there were people that were assaulted physically at the end of the Pride parade in Jerusalem. So it's really horrible. And the terrible thing is that our chairman of parliament is a homosexual male that is married to his partner, but he also belongs to the party who comprises the government, the Likud, and he says nothing, although he is he belongs to the LGBT community, and he does not defend them. He is not saying anything against this terrible propaganda against his own community. So this is really vexing and very, very, makes us all very angry. So this is one thing that I wanted to talk about before I start talking about our dastardly duo, as Meghan Moore calls them, So let's talk about them. So yesterday, for those of you who saw the Royal Rogue video, it was put out on the New York Post that Netflix decided to fire Harry and Meghan and not to continue their contract. Now, I'm not sure which came first, whether it came as a retribution to Harry and Meghan coming out and saying that they don't want to come out with any more material that is attacking the royal family, and if they are not coming out with stuff like that any longer, then they are not going to be lucrative not to Netflix, not to Penguin Random House, for which they owe 3 more books. And as Neil Sean said today, Penguin Random House are going to insist on the 3 books that they deserve, and they want what is going to earn money. And books on whales or on charity work is not going to bring money, and book on gossip is going to bring money. So, but after they came out with this declaration that they are not going to come out with any more movies, that they are not going to come out with books that are attacking the family any longer, comes out Netflix and says that they are cutting ties with the Harkles, and I understand that except for the Invictus Game documentary, which doesn't have a release date, they are not going to work with them any longer. So I don't know what it means regarding the money that the contract that they signed, whether they gave him the entire $100 million or not. But this is an interesting development. So I'm going to do a spread, and I'm going to look into Netflix disappointment of the Sussexes. So I'm going to use the Black Cat Tarot, because I believe a black cat went between Sussexes and the Netflix, and caused this disagreement between the both of them. So let's start by saying my disclaimer. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. Okay, so let's clear the deck. And let's start asking. So Netflix are cutting ties with the Harry and Meghan. What is their disappointment, and why are they cutting their ties with the Sussexes? What are they disappointed of, and why didn't it work out? What are the possible negative aspects? What did they expect to gain from this contract, and what are they going to do next? So Netflix disappointment from their contract with Harry and Meghan. What did they expect from that contract? Why didn't it work out? What was the reason for their decision to cut it out? and what are both of them going to do next. So Netflix disappointment from their contract with Harry and Meghan and their decision to cut out their relationship with the Sussexes. Okay, so the first card is showing us what Netflix wanted or what they were hoping for. And the card that I'm getting is the Ace of Wands. So first of all, they really thought, or at least if you remember the CEO of Netflix video when they just signed the contract with the Sussexes, he was gushing. He was telling us how an amazing creative people they are. So they were really seeing them as people who can manifest. This is what the Ace of Wands is all about. The Wands is about fire. It's about creativity. It's about the ability to create, to manifest. As we can see here, this cat is painting because he is someone who is very creative. So this is what the Wands suit is about. It's about being able to get your wishes realized in the material world. So this is what Netflix were thinking of. They were thinking about creativity, about creating from nothing. So they thought about Sussexes coming with ideas for things that are innovative, things that are new, things that are groundbreaking, but they did take into consideration and just take that as a hint that there might be ego questions. So this is something that we need to think about, because when you look at the negative aspects of this card, there are ego questions. So they should have thought about it. Whether or not they did, it's a good question, but they should have thought about the possibility of ego questions and people that are over egocentric and could not be able to deliver because of ego problems. But without looking at the negative aspects, we're looking at the things that they were hoping to gain, and this is what they were hoping to gain, the Ace of Wands. So why didn't it work out? And the card that I'm getting is the Six of Wands, which is interesting because the Six of Wands is a card of victory. And it is about a card that is people that are getting that victory if they persist, if they are looking into the victories and the achievements without arrogance. And once again, we're talking about wands, we're talking about fire. But when we're looking at the reasons why it didn't work, we need to look at the negative aspects of this card. It's just as if we got this card in the reverse. And the negative aspects is people that are advancing too quickly without having a solid basis. And this is exactly what happened with the Sussexes. They didn't check whether or not the Harkles have a solid basis, if they can manifest, if they do have ideas, groundbreaking ideas. I'm not sure that the CEO of Netflix actually got any storyboard from the Sussexes on what they are going to do, what their ideas are, what they mean to create. So it looks like he was just running too fast. He was so afraid that someone else will catch them or someone else will hit that contract before he does, that he didn't stop to think, he didn't stop to check what he was who he was signing and what he was getting in return. So this is about advancing too quickly. This is about arrogance. So here comes the ego problems that we were talking about in the in the Ace of Wands. And when we're looking at the Six of Wands in the reverse, and the problems of this victory card, when it's not getting, when they're not getting the victory, it is about arrogance. It is about ego. It's about people that are resting on their laurels, but they are procrastinating. And we saw that with the Sussexes. We saw that ever since they signed that contract, how long it took them to get that Netflix documentary out, how long it took them to get those Spotify podcasts out, and how much they had to be nagged, and how many people both Netflix and Spotify had to hire to help them get those programs out. So they are procrastinators. They are people that are just they are not hard workers, resting on their laurels. We got that victory, and that is enough for us. We're not working too hard to get to do what we signed for. So these are people that are putting things off, and WME should learn the lesson that Netflix learned, and in a very hard learned lesson, because this is what the Sussexes are very good at being procrastinators, at putting things off, not going to work diligently, and people that are full of themselves, arrogant, full of ego, but not so much really good in manifesting and with good ideas. Okay, so the next card is a card of the perceived positives. So what were the perceived positives that Netflix had when they signed the contract? And we are getting the Ace of Pentacles, so another ace. So when Netflix signed the contract with the Harkles, they had quite a big idea of all the benefits that they can get. So they thought about getting their wishes met, realized in the material world. They thought about getting their needs realized in the material world. So these two things, the two aces are getting together, but they are different, because this is about wishes, this is about creation, this is about manifesting, and this is about needs. It's about tangible needs, it's about money, it's about property, it's about all of those things. So they thought that they are going to win, and quite a lot. They thought that this is going to be a very lucrative deal for them. This is what Netflix perceived as the positive sides of this contract. What were they thinking as possible negatives when they signed the contract, before they started working with them, before they even started, when they were weighing the positives against negatives? What did they think of as possible negative? And they thought that the positives were heavy enough or big enough to make them seal the deal. So the possible negatives in Netflix CEO mind were the Two of Cups. which is a card that is not so bad. The Two of Cups is a card, first of all, it's about harmony, it's about love, so that's not a very bad card. But it is also a card that speaks about the need to be active, the need to start doing things, the need to be the suitor and not to wait to be courted. So I think that in the back of Netflix CEO mind, there was this thought that, okay, maybe I will have to be the one who is the suitor to court the Harkles, to be the one who is active, the one who is asking them to do things, the one who pays the money, the one who is giving them the feeling that we want them. This is about being the active one and letting them be the passive one, because they themselves are not so active. So in the back of his mind, he thought, okay, so I can deal with that. I can deal with the fact that they are not so active, that we will have to be the active ones, so I will have to hire some people to help them with their projects. I don't think that he ever thought that they will never be able to manifest and create from nothing, that the only thing that they will be able to create is gossip, like commentary about the royal family. So he thought that they will need a little nudge, they will need something that will help them create. But so he, as the CEO, will have to supply that nudge. But he never thought that it will cost him so dearly as it did. Okay, so how can Netflix move on from all of this? And what I'm getting here is the Knight of Cups. Okay, so Knight of Cups, that is the fantasizer. So, well, you know that Netflix and all of the streaming giants, all of television, everything that is connected to the entertainment industry is built upon fantasy and the fantasy world. But what this card is telling them is, first of all, not to be the fantasizer. So this is a warning card for them, because the fantasizer or the Knight of Cups is a person that loses opportunities because he tends to live in this fantasy world. So in this instance, they are told not to be the fantasizer in order to not to miss opportunities. So they need to be grounded, first of all, not to be in the clouds, but to be grounded, to be, full of open-hearted for feelings of love, which is something that is okay for us all. But to not to delude themselves, not to allow themselves to be deceived again. So this is the main thing that they need to understand. They need to understand that this is about countering obstacles. This is about not being deceived. This is about the need to deal with hardships without fear, the need to be selfless and not selfish. This is what they need to do. And if you're looking at this card, we see the cats are up in the sky on these clouds, and we see this. Well, it looks like this. This is a knight, but it looks like a dragon that is firing fire arrows. Could be love arrows. So it could be all about loving feelings, it could be all about like a cupid, but it is also a warning, because this love arrow that starts as a love arrow becomes a fire arrow while it's in the air. So this is the reason why it is a missed opportunity. So this is what they need to understand. They cannot allow themselves to miss more opportunities. So this is what Netflix should do and to move on. And what could be next for the Harkles? And what I'm getting here is the Seven of Wands. Interesting. So just look at this card. In this card, we see a cat fighting a masked lion, a lion that is wearing a mask with wands. And the lion signifies, in my opinion, the Meghan, because she is the Leo, and it's masked because she's still not revealing her true self. And I believe that the cat that is fighting this masked lion is everyone that is fighting Meghan. But if we're looking at what do the Sussexes need to do going further, going to the future, this card is telling them that they need to stop thinking about they need to start concentrating on the most important things and leave the trivial things aside. This is what the Seven of Wands is all about. The Seven of Wands is a card of a person that needs to concentrate. One thing that Harry finds it very hard to do, and this is why I always, when I find this card, I say that this card represents the way Harry's mind is working, because he, I believe, has ADD, and ADD people are people that cannot easily concentrate on the most important things, because many trivial things are masking themselves. And this is why we have another reason why we have this masked lion. So Harry needs to know to deal with the important things and to leave the trivial things aside. But he's also fighting this very, very huge Leo that is masking himself as a softer animal, and he needs to understand that this Leo is his main enemy. So going forward, they will have to find a way. Maybe it won't be together. Maybe they will have to find a way separately to go forward. And maybe the fact that Meghan is going her way is good, because Harry will have to go his way. And maybe once he goes his way without her, will help him see the reality as it is. Okay, so I hope that this was comprehensible and not too scattered. So this is the tarot. Once again, I have two oracles. So the first one is Cat Wisdom. So these cards are cute cat cards. They have two sides, each one of them. So on one side we have cutie kittens with messages, and here I'm asking for a message for Netflix, and on the other side we have an expansion of the message. Let's clear the deck. so a message for Netflix. A message for Netflix on cutting ties with the Sussexes. A message for Netflix on cutting ties with the Sussexes. Oh, look at this quite cute one. Looks so cute, and the message is alarm. Okay, has something set off alarm bells for you? Probably yes. This is a message for Netflix. If so, be sure to follow your instinct and proceed with care. This uneasy kitty invites you to look closely at any major plans you've been making and double check that the intention of those involved are honorable. If it doesn't feel right for you, trust your intuition and be prepared to check tack. I think it's check back, well, I'm not sure. Okay, so this is the message, and I think that there couldn't have been a more on point message for Netflix on this question. Okay, so this is for Netflix. The second oracle is another spirit oracle deck, animal spirit deck. This is a Colette Baron raid, and here I'm going to take a card that represents the Sussexes in this, and one to represent the Sussexes, the Netflix in this. So let's see. So let's clear the deck. Okay, so a card that represents the Sussexes in their deal with Netflix that was cut off. A card to represent the Sussexes in their cut off deal with Netflix. Okay, so this is the first card. And the second card is, okay, let's just shuffle once more and clear once more. Okay, so a card to represent Netflix in their deal with the Sussexes that was cut off. A card to represent Netflix in their cut off deal with the Sussexes. Okay, so this is the card for Netflix. Okay, so Netflix is Crow Spirit, co-create with Spirit, and no, sorry, this is Netflix, and Sussexes are Canary Spirit. Sing your own song. Let me check. Okay, so the Sussexes card is about a free bird that is free to say or to sing her own song. So the fact that the Harkles are freed from their connection to Netflix is freeing them for their authentic voice, as Meghan likes to say, and it's actually written here. Find your authentic voice. So this is about them being able to to say their own words, to sing their own song, that they are getting freed, so they are being freed from Netflix. So this is what this message is all about. So this is actually a card that shows us what is happening to the Sussexes, and the fact that this contract was cut off is just freeing them to do whatever they want without the shackles that Netflix might have put on their content. So now they are free to do whatever they want. Now for Netflix. The cross spirit is about creation, but it is also about getting your dreams come true. It's about magic. It's about the law of attraction. It's about the law of abundance. And what I like about the message here is that maybe they have been hit by loss or disappointment as a result of an event that they had absolutely nothing to do with, but they need to trust that no matter the temporary conditions, things will right themselves very soon because of the law of balance that makes it inevitable that this too shall pass. So, with these words, I want to thank you all for supporting me, for your kind words in the comments, in emails, for those who donated to my coffee fund. You shouldn't have, but I really appreciate it, and I know for you, those of you who shared your stories about the fur babies that you lost, I really feel so bad for all of you. And thank you for your support. It means so much to me and to everyone in my family. So I really, really wanted to say thank you. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.